So the tomatoes from along here, let me show you. Hit the wrong button. From here all the way down to that corner, those were tomato seeds that we saved last year from our last harvest. We have 62 tomato plants right here. So from here all the way down, there's about 62 tomato plants from seed that was saved last year and germinated this year. And then over here, for for quarantine purposes, because yes, we did buy. And if you don't know, if you save seed from last year, you want to put distance and different crops in between. So, for example, that is a Roma tomato plant right there. It did not produce, it did not thrive. It is, if you look at it real closely, it's just not thriving. And then, while this one right here, that's a cherry tomato. Indeterminate cherry tomatoes. And I believe I have cherries on here that are ready to pick. But yeah. Ooh, there's a grasshopper. Do you see him? So yeah. This one's just, it's kind of crazy. Well, that's a determinate Roma tomato. These two are store-bought. Now, the reasoning behind separating out your store-bought versus your non-store-bought tomato seeds is very easy. Not seeds, tomato plants. Tomato plants, not seeds. This crop right here, parents came from this ground, so they are used to our area, they're used to our growth. They have gone crazy. They are adapted to this ground, so they will do fantastic just where they're at. Now if I were to plant those two over here, well, one or two things can happen. One, they do fantastic together. Or two, because I see one of my plants does have a bit of growing issues, not thriving. Don't know if it was a genetic issue, if it's a issue of that sort, like disease wise, where it's coming from, all that good shit. Sorry, good stuff. All that good stuff to be planted. See if I can get that to stay. Hold on. Cattail. By the way, if you have cats, this is fantastic to show you. See that? It's a normal weed. If you have cats, this part right here, the fuzzy bit, they'll chase it. Absolutely perfect. I'm going to fold it in half, like so. And now, hopefully that stays. Hopefully. No, it stays. Haha! Nope, not at all. Okay, so yeah. Like, there's two possibilities. And I probably went over them, but I'm going to go over them again because I got sidetracked with showing you a neat trick and a cool little toy. one. That could those tomatoes that are in the cages that were store-bought could easily be fine, easily be well. I would probably get and save those seeds for next year for new generations, new genetics into our tomatoes. Mosquito bite. Easy. Or because we did buy them from a store, we don't know how they were handled. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know any of that aspect. We cannot control that. I'm going to put them into a isolated zone with all the other store-bought plants that I have. So if those turn bad, let's say those turn bad, those are no longer good, then yeah, they will be able to be pulled out easily. I don't have to worry about, disease crossing over from one sick tomato plant to another. Our cherry tomatoes are looking good, so I'll save those seeds hopefully here soon for next year, and our next year crop we will be pulling from the characteristics of the tomato plant that I really want. I want the really thick tomato stalks, so they have a more stockier, they're more stocky. Let me show you. Alright, see down here? That's about a dime to a quarter width. But see how these have like these anchor points right here? From here to here. This one doesn't need that much trailing. If it didn't have the fruit on there, like these are high performing tomato plants, but if I didn't have the fruit on, hands down, if I didn't need to trail them up, like if they were not with fruit, they would be standing straight up. Like they wouldn't be. Oh, here's a good example. So this one right here, this tomato plant. See how beany it is? Okay, it doesn't look so healthy because it hasn't got watered in a while. But yeah. It's now putting on flowers. But see how it's able to stand up perfectly straight? I want to get a tomato plant with about this big round stalk so it can support its own weight and it will be able to bear these amounts of fruit. Look how big those are, and those are not even growing all together, like so yeah, there's crazy amounts of genetics here that are happening. These are all indeterminate variety tomatoes. These should be, if I'm right, these are all indeterminate big boy variety tomato plants. All of them. So, high producers, they're indeterminate. That means they will produce until the first frost or disease has taken it. We do not fertilize our plants. We are organic in that sense, including the buds. They're still good. Like, we had some dead leaves that are dropping. And that's just because of these plants were sitting on top of these carrots. And then I trellised those across the way. So now they're pulled that way into those secondary plants. And yeah, they're good. If you look on the tomatoes, those are sun blotches. It just means the tomato plant, the fruit, has too much sun. Now, nothing's going to go waste. We have chickens. Well, okay, we don't have chickens where we're at right now. But I have chickens that I can drop this produce off to, and they're going to enjoy it. Like, the whole reason of having a farm, the whole reason of doing this is so nothing goes to waste. All of this food will either be turned into eggs by our chickens or some type of pork from our soon-to-be pigs. Oh, if I can, hopefully I can talk my husband into getting a pig. But if not, I have some sheep that would love to have, you know, we'll make less use of this. I have some sheep. So yeah, let me show you what this garden. So yeah, this is what we're going to be working on in the upcoming weeks. It's just weeding out all this to there, and then Mother Nature. Mother Nature. She's weird. She's funny. She's kooky. This garden season, I already had voluntary plants. So we planted back by the ivy where was our original onion bed. And I harvested up all the onions, I thought. But I ended up not harvesting all the onions, and some of them did not grow, so they stayed dormant for a good season. So in spring they started to grow again, and that was our first harvest, was all of the onions that were from last year. Now back here, we're going to see if I can show you. Back here is where we had potatoes, was back in this area from last year. We had some voluntary potato plants. That was our secondary tomato plant. Our secondary plants. We have a race right here, and we have the remaining carrots. Those are the itty bitties for snacking wise right here. And this was all carrots. We have potatoes. We have a first section of potatoes right here. We got a second section of potatoes right there. Back there was our second. And then our third was right here. Now this bed is emptied. I did amend it. And I did plant, if you can see that, spinach in here. So we have spinach for the fall garden growing. What did pop up, of course. We also have squirrels. We have squirrels that they love spinach, by the way. Our squirrels in our neighborhood, they love our produce. And I'm happy to give that to them. That is one of the things that I get to majorly enjoy watching, is having a squirrel take a bite of a tomato. I have plenty of food for my family. I can give some to nature and give back to nature for that. But Mother Nature, this plant wasn't planted here by me. This was planted by Mother. And this is a yellow zucchini plant. This seed wasn't planted Here, I'm